Hi guys, Matt Hancock's here and welcome to our second video on dieting versus cleansing. Before we get into this session, what I'd like to do is just give a quick recap of our first session and then we'll get into it. So what we discussed last time was that modern day farming methods are kind of depleting the minerals from our soil. So the continuous turnover of the land is depleting the mineral content. And in Europe, 72% of the minerals have been lost in the last 100 years. We're turning over the soil continuously, obviously, to cope with the demand of the crops. And if you add to that the fact that we are harvesting too early, and we are eating too many processed foods, too many convenience foods, too many foods lacking the vital nutrients that our body requires, then what we're getting is, unfortunately, a hormonal imbalance. This hormonal imbalance is causing several symptoms of ill health, both for women and men, and that's decreased mental clarity, depression, headaches, fatigue, decreased sex drive, and unfortunately, because of that, the inevitable happens and we gain weight. Okay, so what we discussed is that our body needs to get the right amount of vitamins and minerals to run our cells, and that kind of leads us to principle one. So we need to increase the micronutrients to give the cells the fuel it needs to run its daily operations, and this comes from the nutrition, so changing the types of food that we're consuming and also adding a vitamin and mineral supplement. So we're going to talk about dieting versus cleansing, and I want to start with the fact that we are holding on to toxicity. Now, we may have heard of doing detoxes before, and I kind of just want to explain what toxins are doing to the system and why we need to get rid of them and why that will help us lose weight. Unfortunately, in our modern world, we all hold on in our bodies more industrial chemicals than we used to, okay, and that we should do. These chemicals impact on our general health, and they have a role to play in preventing continued weight loss and achieving optimal health. So why is that, okay, and how do we know that we are full of toxins anyway? Basically, think about when you're feeling sluggish, or if you have low energy, maybe winter weight gain, finding it hard to get motivated. You might even have flu-like symptoms, but nothing really moves on to a flu. It doesn't progress into a flu. But things are just generally dragging you down. Believe it or not, these are classic signs of accumulating toxicity and your body's attempts to rid itself of some of this load. So, what is toxicity, and where are these toxins coming from? Well, basically, we consume a cocktail of pesticides. Pesticides can be stored in your fat tissues for years, and pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, all these sprays that we put onto our crops in order to obviously mass produce and increase the longevity of the product and the shelf life, etc., etc. But it runs our system down. Okay, now this isn't new. The dangers are lurking in, the dangers of the pesticides reaching alarming levels have been across the newspapers. The thing is, it's like in our fruit and veg, we're all told about eating fruit and veg to remain healthy, but 50% of lettuce leaves contain more than 7 pesticides. 78% of apples contain pesticides. The average apple on the supermarket shelf has been sprayed 8 times. Even the bread doesn't get away with it. 78% of bread contain pesticides. And so, it's all in the food, but it's not just pollution and the insecticides and the pesticides, on our food, all right? The problem doesn't stop there. It's in our toiletries and our household products. It's in the paint on our walls, plastic containers and bottles, mercury from fillings in our teeth, vaccination toxins, drug residues, chemicals in water. It all, the makeup we put on our face, it all adds up. It's all toxins, it's all overloading our system, and they're all like poisons. The body treats them as poisons, and we kind of store them in our fat cells to protect our nervous system and to protect our body. Okay, so what happens is, this is kind of, I would say that this is almost like a chemical smog, right? And this is totally man-made, and it can be seen by having a huge impact on our health, and you can just see the health of the nation and how it's really is depleting over the years. It's getting worse and worse. We're becoming more sick, we're becoming more overweight. As many as 100,000 synthetic chemicals are produced each year, and are making their way into our bloodstreams, and therefore into our body fat, and our body is just holding on to that fat because it wants to protect us from being ill. Now, what does that mean, in terms of weight loss and so on and so forth? Well, basically, as I said, most of these chemicals are stored in our fat cells, and when people go on a calorie restricted regime that has been the trend of the past, they'll indeed lose weight. All right, initially they will lose weight, and what happens is their metabolism will slow down to protect their system from losing more fat, as this fat has been protecting the nervous system and organs from this toxic buildup. So when the fat begins to disappear due to the calorie restriction, and nothing has been done about the driving out the toxicity located in the fat, then the body bounces back, and for no apparent reason they'll begin to put on more weight, leaving the person obviously frustrated and demotivated. And this would have happened, it may have happened to you in the past, it may have happened to some friends that have been on a diet plan, and this will kind of explain why you get to a certain point with your weight loss progress before putting it all back on again. Alright, and it kind of rebounds. If we're losing weight but not dealing with the toxicity, you have a higher concentration of toxicity, you then have emergency fat cell production to protect your cells, and you get this big rebound in weight. Now, we're aware that people need to release the toxic buildup when losing weight, and hence why we prefer to use a cleanse formula, because this kind of allows the excretory organs, so your liver, your kidney, your skin, your gastrointestinal tract, to perform and get rid of this toxic buildup. So we'll lose weight by eating the right foods, okay, and reducing the amount of fat storage triggers in our diet, and we'll do a cleanse, which is important because it opens up the exit pathways for these toxins to be processed. Alright, and the body then has no need to keep hold of them and keep hold of the body fat, and it will just eventually give up. So because you have lost weight and you now have less concentration of these toxins, maintenance becomes very, very simple. You get no rebound, your body doesn't have to go into fat cell production to protect the nervous system, and you lose weight, you gain health, and it's sustainable. So it's really, really a phenomenal approach, and if you add to that the micronutrient optimization from our last video, your body will just be functioning really, really well, and the fat will just disappear. So principle 2 is to periodically cleanse, so that's 3 to 4 times a year, to clean out the toxic overload that modern living creates. This will keep the system running really smoothly. So we have an integral waste disposal system, so it's built into our miracle, which is our body, and on normal circumstances it works fine day after day, year after year, taking out the rubbish. But we want to avoid, what we need to do is make sure that we don't overload that with toxins so that it can't work effectively. So by periodically cleansing, you'll make sure that the system runs really, really well, you'll get all the toxins out, you provide the nutrients the body needs to function properly, and you'll just continue to live a really healthy, happy, and life and have a nice balanced weight, which is what we're all fundamentally after. So principle 2, periodically cleanse to clean out the toxic overload. So next topic will be about creating healthy cell membranes and to neutralize free radical damage in order to improve your health and shed unwanted body fat. So I hope that kind of clarifies why we go for cleansing rather than dieting, and I look forward to taking you through the next topic. Catch you later. Bye bye.